What is up, all you individuals out there? It's me, full-time anime man, and I am finally back with another episode of What If Deku Was a Firewolf, Part 8. Now, I understand I've been away from this one for a while. It's just that ever since I got the first part of What If Deku Was an Ice Wolf out, that video has been blowing up like crazy, and a lot of people want to know what happens next. But hey, I gotta do my other videos too. And FYI, after this video, I'm going to upload What If Deku Had Maleficent's Powers Part 3. I really missed that one a lot. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do, after that one, I'm gonna do What If Deku Was a Warlock. But I'll think about that later. And with that out of the way, this is What If Deku Was a Firewolf, Part 8. Hope you all enjoy. FYI, I also picked up some new skills when it comes to editing. So from now on, if I say anyone's name, they're going to appear on the screen. And just to help you guys with some images, like, you know, if you ever need help with your imaginations, an image will pop on the screen. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Enjoy the video. Right back to where we left off, Izuku asked Bakugo and Shoto if they would want to be wolves like him. They both looked at Izuku, their eyes widened in surprise as if they saw a magician doing a trick. Shoto speaks. You mean make us wolves too? Izuku looks up and says, yeah, I just learned last night that I can share my abilities with other people. But I can only pass it down to people that I want to make wolves. That being said, if I gave my abilities to you guys, then you can do what I do. You can't make others wolves. Only I can do that. Even in your human forms, you'll be stronger, faster, and your other senses will be increased greatly. But as a wolf, you'll be able to call upon allies of yourselves. And with your elements, you can grow in size. That means Shoto, with the fire, you can do what I do and grow in size, or even with your ice as well. And Bakugo, even with fire, you'll be able to grow as well. Shoto and Bakugo look to each other in bewilderment. Bakugo asks, well, what's the catch? Izuku then explains, saying, well, if I made you guys wolves, there's only one way to undo the werewolfism. Bakugo and Shoto then lean closer to hear what Izuku has to say. He speaks. I would have to die. Bakugo and Shoto then jump from the answer that Izuku has given them. Izuku then speaks. And if you guys do decide to be wolves, I would be your alpha leader. You would have to do as I say. But trust me, I would never bend your wills for my own entertainment. If you guys do decide to be wolves, you'll be making your own decisions. And trust me, I don't think any of you guys are weak. If anything, you're getting stronger faster than I thought. You guys are growing strong, but I thought since we're so close to each other, we should just make it official and form an unbreakable pack. So, what do you guys say? You guys want to be wolves together? Bakugo and Shoto then look to each other, thinking, and after a few minutes of them talking amongst themselves, they give an answer to Izuku. Bakugo speaks first. To be a wolf, that would be pretty cool. Enhanced senses, along with strength and speed, that would really be something. Bakugo then looks to Shoto, and then he looks to Izuku and gives him his answer. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say no. Shoto then gets in the conversation saying, sorry, but I appreciate the offer, but no. Izuku stands there, smiling, and says, well, why not? Bakugo speaks, well, if it's true what you're saying, and that we're getting stronger than you are, I don't see a point. Shoto then says, yeah, and not to mention, your quirk is something special, Izuku. I think it would be best if you're the only one with this power. Izuku smiles and says, okay, but don't think I'm going to let you guys surpass me when it comes to strength. Bakugo then speaks, oh yeah? Well, we'll see about that. Shoto then says, the first person to get 100 bench presses gets the last cold drink. Bakugo and Izuku then spoke at the same time, saying, you're on. They both begin their bench pressing. The next day comes. Izuku is walking to school by himself. That was until he came across Uraraka.
Oh, hey, Izuku, good to see ya.
Uraraka then runs over to Izuku and grabs his arm, hugging him. Izuku is acting like this is natural and says, oh, hey Uraraka, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great now that you're with me.
Izuku says, oh, well, I'm glad. After a few minutes, they both arrive at school. Uraraka still hugging Izuku's arm when they enter the classroom. Yaoyorozu sees this and she does the pout face. If you don't know what the pout face is, look at the screen. She then gets up from her seat and walks over to Izuku, who managed to get out of Uraraka's grasp. Yaoyorozu then says,
hey, Izuku.
oh, good morning, Yaoyorozu. What's up? Yaoyorozu then speaks.
I couldn't help but think, but I could use some training. Do you think you could ask Endeavor if he could take me under his wing? Train me like you?
Izuku thinks for a moment and says, I could ask him, yeah.
Great,
Said Yaoyorozu.
I can't wait to get started. I'll see you later.
Yaoyorozu then walks back to her seat and sits down. Uraraka, who was eavesdropping on the conversation, she was about to say something until Shoto and Bakugo along with Aizawa enters the room. Class has started, said Aizawa. A few hours have passed. In the cafeteria, Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto are sitting at their table eating. Shoto then speaks. Oh, hey guys, I meant to mention this. My dad gave me some intel on the sports festival, and you're right, Izuku. There is going to be some combat involved. Izuku and Bakugo were stoked. Izuku then said, oh, hell yeah! When the time comes, whoever I go up against, I hope they're good at sparring. Bakugo then speaks. And if I end up having to go against one of you guys, don't expect me to go easy on you. I don't expect you to, said Shoto. Their conversation was interrupted by Uraraka, saying,
hey guys, do you mind if I sit here today?
Bakugo then said, sure, we don't care. Have a seat. Uraraka then said, thanks. Uraraka then cleared her throat and then said,
Hey, Izuku, do you think I could join you in your training?
Izuku sits there looking to Bakugo and Shoto and says, I can ask him if you could join us, sure. Uraraka then said,
oh, cool. I can't wait to get started. Hey, so what were you guys just talking about over here?
oh, well, we were just talking about the sports festival and how there's going to be some combat involved.
Oh, wow. This will be exciting.
A few minutes have passed, and along with a few hours, school has ended. Izuku was about to head to Endeavors to train until he was called by his name. He turns around and sees Yaoyorozu. She approaches him and grabs his arm, saying,
hey, Izuku, can you walk me home today?
Izuku then said, well, okay, I got time. The moment was interrupted by Uraraka, saying,
hey, Izuku, do you mind walking me home?
Yaoyorozu sees Uraraka. Uraraka sees Yaoyorozu holding Izuku's arm. Uraraka then runs up to Izuku and grabs his other arm, saying,
well, come on, let's go.
Yaoyorozu then pulls Izuku to her side and says,
what? No way, he's walking me home.
Uraraka then pulls Izuku to her side and said,
what? No, me.
This goes on for a little bit, and Izuku finally speaks, okay, listen, I'll walk you both home. Now come on. They both grab Izuku by the arm, doing the pout face. They begin to walk, and after a few minutes of silence, Uraraka speaks.
So, Izuku, do you want to hang out after the sports festival?
Yeah, sure, said Izuku. Yaoyorozu then gets in the conversation saying,
oh, I would very much like to hang out with you again.
oh, okay. said Izuku. Uraraka then grabbed Izuku's arm tighter and looking in the opposite direction of Yaoyorozu. A few minutes later, the three teenagers made it to the residence of Yaoyorozu's home. Yaoyorozu then speaks.
Thanks for walking me home, Izuku. I really do hope that Endeavor will let me train with you.
Yeah, it's no problem. I'm sure I can convince him. Yaoyorozu then kisses Izuku on his cheek. Uraraka's face then turns red and gasps. Yaoyorozu then enters her home as she waves goodbye. Izuku then looks to Uraraka and sees her troubled face and says, Uraraka, I see the distressed look on your face, and trust me, I'm still trying to understand this whole relationship stuff. I've never really had a girlfriend before because most of my life it was just training. But I know how you're feeling. You're angry to see me with another girl, and that makes sense. And I'm sorry. I don't really know what I want, but what I do know is that I want you to be happy more than anything. Uraraka looks up to Izuku. She smiles and says,
Thanks. That means a lot to me.
Uraraka then hugs Izuku's arm tighter. Later, at the residence of Uraraka then says,
Thanks for walking me home again, Izuku.
Izuku then says, it's no problem. Well, I better get going. I'm almost late. Uraraka smiles, looks up to Izuku, and kisses him on his cheek. She then opens her door and says,
Well, I'll see you later, Izuku. Bye.
Izuku smiles and looks at the time and says, oh crap, now I'm really going to be late. Endeavor lives kind of far away from here. Izuku thinks for a moment and he says, well, looks like I got no choice. I'm going to have to fly there. Izuku then takes off his shoes and using his fire to his feet, he then rockets himself up into the air and then aims his feet in the direction of the residence of Endeavor. With a few seconds to spare, Izuku enters. A few minutes during training, Izuku approaches Endeavor and says, excuse me, Sensei? Endeavor then turns around to face Izuku and says, yeah, what's up? I was wondering if I could have some friends of mine if they could join us in our training regime. Oh, why should I allow them to join us? Izuku then says, well, if the people sees that you're a better role model to kids, they'll think that you're an even better role model than All Might. Endeavor then thinks to himself for a moment, and then he says, okay, I suppose I'll allow it, but they better not just come here to distract you from your training. There's too much going on. Okay, great, said Izuku. A few days later, while Uraraka and Yaoyorozu were training with Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto, we then cut to the sports festival. The crowd is cheering. They can't wait for things to get started. President Mike then speaks over the intercom. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the UA Sports Festival. Are we all ready for some excitement? The crowd then cheers even louder. President Mike continues to speak. Well then, let's get this show on the road. Coming out first is the first class of 1A. That did not make sense of what I just said, but hey, I blame Full-Time Anime Man. The students then make their way out the tunnel. Izuku is the first to emerge into the lighting view of the audience, while the rest of his class follows behind him. A few minutes later, everyone is standing in the middle of the arena. Midnight then announces that the class rep will give a speech. Everyone looks to Izuku. He slowly makes his way up to the podium. A few seconds of silence goes by, and Izuku finally speaks. A man once offered me a chance to enable into a recommendation to enter UA with hardly any effort, and to me, that didn't sound right. So I rejected it, and I told him, if I was going to be the next #1 hero, I need to start at the same spot as everyone else and work my way to the top. But after spending some time here at UA, I'd figured something out. That's not what being a hero is about. We came here to prove ourselves worthy of being called heroes, and to improve ourselves to become stronger for the people of our neighborhoods, our families, and our city. A few days ago, my classmates were confronted by every student in UA because they felt like they had to tell us we weren't on top of the world, nor that we were better than anyone just because we survived a villain attack. Well, that's not why I'm here. I am here to earn the right to be called a hero and to work hard and show the world what I got. And to those who are lower classes than 1A, you must not discourage yourselves. Because just like me, you're here to give it your all. And I speak for all of us when I say, it's time to go beyond. Plus ultra. Everyone then starts cheering from Izuku's speech. Izuku walks down from the podium as his classmates pat him on the back. Midnight then speaks.
Oh wow, that truly was a wonderful speech. It's got my insides all warm and fuzzy. But with that out of the way, let the contest begin! Our first contest will be an obstacle course. Through this, the students will be doing a sort of kilometer run. There will be trials and tribulations, and you have to do your best to avoid them or overcome them.
Izuku then walks over to Bakugo and Shoto and they talk amongst themselves. Izuku says, well guys, this is it. It's our time to shine. Bakugo then said, yeah, I'm definitely winning this race. Shoto then said, don't expect me to go easy on any of you guys. The three boys then look to each other, smiling. Izuku speaks, well, good luck out there, guys. Izuku then reaches out and grabs Bakugo's wrist. Shoto then grabs Izuku's wrist, and Bakugo grabs Shoto's wrist. And if you need an image just to help you out a bit, look at the screen. At the start of the race, everyone is on the mark, awaiting for the signal to run. All three lights above their heads then shut off, and Midnight then yelled,
Begin!
Everyone runs, and as they are nearly a few feet out of the tunnel, Shoto then smirks and freezes the ground, nearly snaring everyone to their feet. Shoto then said, oh well, you win some, you lose some. Most people manage to get out of the traps, such as Aoyama, Yaoyorozu, Kirishima, Bakugo, and Izuku. Ah, crud, said Shoto.
Nice move, said
Yaoyorozu. We've been training for 10 years. I know all your tricks, said Bakugo. That wasn't very nice, Shoto, said Izuku. Izuku then turns around and blows fire to the ground, melting the ice around the other students' feet. Every class looks to Izuku in confusion. Izuku then looks to them and yells, what are you waiting for? Run! Everyone continues running. It only took Izuku a few seconds to catch up with Todoroki. And he speaks. You know, that wasn't very fair, Shoto. Shoto then looks back and sees that Izuku has let the others go. Why'd you let him go? Said Shoto. They deserve a chance, like us, said Izuku. The conversation was interrupted by a giant robot swinging over their heads. They all look up in astonishment. Looking straight up, they see 7 gigantic zero-pointer robots standing there, along with a couple of 1 through 3-pointer robots. Are those zero-pointers? From the entrance exams? Said Izuku. I swear, where did these people get the money for these things? Said Shoto. Well then, we better get started, said Bakugo. Bakugo is the first to jump into an attack, lunging himself with an explosion at the giant zero-pointers, blowing the heads off of one of them. Izuku then said, hey, leave some fun for us. Shoto then responded back saying, yeah. Izuku gathers up a big ball of fire and throws it at the chest of a zero-pointer, nearly basically destroying it. Shoto then throws mountains of ice at the chest of the zero-pointers. Behind them, watching them, everyone saw the 3 boys' potentials One student then says, "Wow, that's so amazing." "Don't forget powerful," another student said. "Who has been training these guys?" The students were so focused on the fight that was in front of them that they nearly missed the smaller robots that were coming in for an attack. "Oh crap," said one student. And then at one point, Kaminari shocked the circuits out of one robot, while Yaoyorozu built a cannon to destroy a couple of 1 through 3 pointers, clearing a path for everyone else. After the giant robots were destroyed, Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto proceeded forward to the race. After a few feet, the students came across a canyon. "Well, I'll see you guys on the other side." Izuku then uses fire to his feet and rockets himself into the air and flies across the canyon. Shoto then conjures a mountain of ice that the tip led to the end of the canyon, while Bakugo then used his explosions to launch himself to the air and across the canyon to the other side, as everyone else things were like in canon. We then move on to the minefield. Izuku smells danger up ahead and stops both Bakugo and Shoto. They looked to Izuku and said, What's the matter?" Izuku then points out to the field and said, "There's mines out there. We need to tread softly." Izuku then looks down to his hands and remembers the attack that he did on the 0-pointers and starts feeling a bit drained of energy. And he says, "I'll have to use my wolf to make my way across." Izuku then changes into a wolf and slowly proceeds his way through the field. Todoroki slowly follows, trying his best not to stand on a mine. Bakugo then gets an idea to use his explosions to his hands and probably project himself forward, but then he knew that if he did that, he would explode a mine and basically hurt himself. So he decided to tread softly as well and walk through the mines. A few seconds later, the rest of the competitions are catching up to them. At one point, someone stepped on a mine. Everyone who didn't know about the mines is now aware of them, of the dangers ahead, and treads softly. Shoto then turned around and saw that everyone else was catching up to them and decided to lay down a path of ice to run towards the end of the field. In Shoto's mind, he said, "People are going to use this, but I'm not going to lose." Shoto then rushes past Izuku, who also made it to the end. Izuku sees that Shoto made it to the end, and then he turns back into a human. He runs, catching up with Shoto. Bakugo thought since he was already halfway there, he was going to use explosions. And so he did. He set it off a few explosions from the back, and a few mines blew up, blowing up a couple of other people to the back as well. Bakugo then aims his hands to his back, and then lets off explosions to project himself forward. And almost in an instant, Bakugo caught up with Izuku and Shoto. Bakugo says, "I'm gonna win this thing." "No, I am," said Izuku. "No, me," said Shoto. The three boys then enter a dark tunnel, getting closer and closer to the end of the finish line. And as they reach the end, they were blinded by the light of the sun. The crowd cheers as the boys then look to each other, and Izuku speaks. "So, who won that one?" "I don't know," said Shoto. "I think it was me," said Bakugo. A few seconds later, the other students passed to the finish line. They all take a breath of relief from the running, and after a few minutes, President Mike speaks. "So, after looking over the video like 100 times, we have discovered that Izuku Midoriya, Katsuki Bakugo, and Shoto Todoroki have made a 3-way tie in the race." "What?" said Bakugo. "A tie," said Izuku in a questionable tone. So, what does that mean? Said Shoto. Midnight then says,
Well, that means we're going to split the points.
Midnight explains.
We were originally going to give 10 million points to the one person who came across the finish line first. But since there was a three-way tie, we're going to remove 1 point off of that and make things even. Ooh la la. I can tell things are about to get juicy.
Midnight continues to explain.
For this match, it will be a cavalry battle. The part of this game will be 3 or 4 people will be working together to snag another team's headband. But there's a twist. Players have been assigned a point of value based on the results of the obstacle course. Now, we were going to give the first place person 10 million points, but as I said before, we're going to take 1 point off and even things up and make the number 9,999,999 and split it up and give Izuku Midoriya, Katsuki Bakugo, and Shoto Todoroki each 3,333,333.
Everyone looks to the boys with high-level headbands. Shoto, Bakugo, and Izuku weren't even the least bit intimidated by their death glare. As everyone is gathering their teams, Uraraka and Yaoyorozu are the first to approach Izuku, wanting to be on his team. Uraraka is the first to speak.
Hey, Izuku, can we...
Yaoyorozu then finishes her sentence saying,
join your team?
Yeah, of course, said Izuku. I think it might be better if we had a third person. Izuku looks around for another partner and sees Tokoyami. Izuku walks over to him and asks him, Hey, Tokoyami, do you want to join my team? And after a few seconds, Tokoyami declines Izuku's proposal, saying, I'm sorry, Midoriya, but I already know what you can do, and there's a high chance you're going to use your fire. I wouldn't be nothing but a nuisance to you and your team, as my weakness to dark shadow is light. Tokoyami then looks to the ground and clenches his fists. Izuku then puts a hand on his shoulder, saying, Hey, it's okay. I understand. Thanks anyway. Thanks for understanding, said Tokoyami. Izuku then walks off, looking for someone else to join his team, until he came across a girl with pink hair. He approached her, saying, Hey, excuse me, what's your name? The girl then turns around to face Izuku and says,
Oh, hey, you're that wolf boy. Hi, I'm Mei Hatsume.
Izuku smiles and says, Hey, do you want to join my team? Mei then had stars in her eyes while saying,
Really? You want me to be a part of your pack? I accept. But can my babies join us too?
Izuku jumps from what she just said and says, I'm sorry, did you say babies?
Yeah, my babies. I invented them. See? This is a jetpack, and it can fly you really high into the sky.
Izuku then says, Oh, gadgets. That's what you meant. Yeah, that could work.
Great,
said Mei. Come on, Izuku took Mei back to his group and said, Okay, we got our team. Let's get things started. Hey, Izuku. Izuku turns around and sees Bakugo approaching him. Hang on, says Izuku. He speaks. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Izuku turns around and smiles and says, Yeah, I did. Bakugo was referring to the rays. He knew that Izuku was faster than both of them. He decided to slow down for them. Bakugo then speaks. Well, why'd you do it? Izuku then says, I just wanted to know what would happen. Bakugo then smirks and says, Well, good luck. They both walk back to their teams. Everyone is ready. Izuku is on top, ready for the battle to start. Shoto, Bakugo, and Izuku look at each other, while everyone else is looking at the other team's headbands. Midnight speaks.
Are you all ready?
She then raises her hand in the air.
Then get ready.
She then quickly swings her arm down in a chopping motion.
Go!
Everyone begins to charge at each other. As the screen pauses at the light of a flash, like someone taking a picture. And that is the end of What If Deku Was a Firewolf, Part 8. Now, I'm sorry that this video took so long, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a total dork right now. Can't seem to get my words out. I blame Kagi Films. Wait, what? No, wait, but isn't that what you do nowadays? If something doesn't go right in your videos, you blame Kagi Films? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, with that out of the way, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I will get the next one out as soon as possible. And the next What If to come out is What If Deku Had Maleficent's Powers? I really hope that it's going to come out well. And if you made it to the end of this video, I would just like to say thank you. But most importantly, if you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, that will make my day. And if you all have made it to the end of this video, like I just said about a couple of seconds ago, consider yourselves #bless. And I hope everyone has a nice day. Okay, bye.